appear in places like Libya. So are there any bombshells? Here's CNN's national security analyst, Peter Bergen.
Yeah, one, I think, important point here is that these documents are secret. They're not top secret. You know, 750,000 Americans have top secret clearances. Many more have secret clearances. So these are not the crown jewels, but they are interesting.
The Defense Department condemned the release of the documents, but this is just the latest dump from WikiLeaks. Others seem to carry a lot more intrigue and controversy. So we wanted to throw this out to our stream team today. Is WikiLeaks good? Having a self-described watchdog releasing classified documents? On the team today is computer security consultant Kevin Mitnick and SiriusXM radio host Pete Dominick. Pete, let me start with you. Is what WikiLeaks is doing, peeking behind the curtain, so to speak, a good thing?
I absolutely think so. We could pick it apart and say certain documents may compromise our national security, or we wish they weren't out there, or they're embarrassing and ruin our relationship with other governments, or in this case, we're going to hear a lot about our relationship with the ISI, which we found out the government considered just like Al-Qaeda and Hamas, et cetera. But yes, they're a good thing. WikiLeaks is doing the job that we in the media haven't been able to do well enough. And the government told us these people that were kept there were the worst of the worst. We found out, well, not so much the case, Randy.
Kevin, your take.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting. As a U.S. citizen, you know, I'm fascinated by the information in these documents. Of course, I always call into question the authenticity. I mean, how do you really verify what's being released is really true? And so I have that in the back of my mind. But it's really fascinating to look at some of the dirty deeds of the government, you know, and seeing that, you know, things that they're doing to extract information is, you know, above the law, and they're kind of getting away with it. So I think it's really gives us really good visibility into what's really going on in Guantanamo Bay.
Randy, I would just ask Kevin, if you were concerned about the authenticity, Kevin, don't you think the Pentagon and the government would challenge the authenticity right away? Why would you be concerned about the authenticity of the documents if the government itself are not challenging it?
Well, maybe the government wouldn't challenge it for, you know, particular reasons. They would probably want to confirm or deny. I always, when information's released, you know, how do you know it's real unless you could verify it? So it's just it's a small question in the back of my mind. You know, I really don't know if any of the documents could be tampered with in any way. I wouldn't think that Julian Assange and his group would do such a thing, but you never know.
Yeah, but let's not forget these are stolen documents. I mean, so should the workers at WikiLeaks face prosecution for putting them out there, do you guys think, Pete?
Well, if you're gonna prosecute WikiLeaks, Randy, you absolutely have to prosecute the New York Times, the Guardian, the Telegraph, NPR. They all did the same thing. WikiLeaks got their hands on them, but so did New York Times. You'd have to prosecute Bob Woodward. You'd have to prosecute any journalist ever who publicized and published these what was in these documents. There's no question about that, I don't think.
So Kevin, I mean, is there anything, do you think, in your mind that should actually be off limits for WikiLeaks?
Well, anything that could really harm anybody physically, I think, should be off limits. I don't really know if any of the documents that were released really jeopardize U.S. interests other than being extremely embarrassing. But, of course, I wouldn't want to see anybody harmed. But then again, it's not my call. You know,
yeah, but I mean, having our diplomatic dirty laundry aired out there can certainly be embarrassing.
It's embarrassing, but as a U.S. citizen, I'd like to know what the government's doing, and some of the things that I'm reading about, I'm quite surprised.
All right, Pete.
We really,
okay, Pete, final word.
I would just ask our viewers to go read in the New York Times, or preferably, in my opinion, I read both the New York Times and the Guardian's articles today. The Guardian did a really, really good job. If you're interested in the subject, and you should be as a taxpayer and American, go read the whole entire thing and decide for yourself, think for yourself.
All right. We heard your advice, Pete. Thank you, Pete. Kevin, appreciate it.